When we imagine a sinister, malevolent killer, often the image of a tall, mysterious man comes to mind. These impressions, although sometimes accurate, couldn't be further from the truth when it comes to Australian businessman Morgan Huxley. Known as the baby-faced killer, Huxley's case challenges the typical stereotype of an evil murderer. Welcome back to the Midnight Investigator. In this video, we delve into the case of Morgan Huxley. If you're new to our channel, we regularly cover solved, unsolved, and strange cases. If that's your cup of tea, consider subscribing. So, grab your favorite beverage, find a comfortable seat, and join me in exploring the case of Morgan Huxley. Our story takes us to Sydney, Australia, also known as the Emerald City. Sydney boasts great weather, a vibrant lifestyle, and high living costs. Let's deviate from Sydney itself and discuss the areas surrounding it. To the west, we have the Blue Mountains, a rugged mountain range famous for its breathtaking scenery, steep cliffs, waterfalls, and eucalyptus forests. To the east lies the Pacific Ocean. Beyond these natural wonders, Sydney is a beautiful city surrounded by abundant nature and wildlife. Now, let's focus on the case at hand. Our story brings us to Neutral Bay, a suburb located on the lower north shore of Sydney. Originally known as Wirrabirra by the Aboriginals, Neutral Bay earned its new name when it became a shore for foreign cargo ships. Today, Neutral Bay is an affluent area known for its young population, and property prices are at an all-time high. In 2013 on Watson Street, we'd find Morgan Huxley, a bright, charismatic man in his early 30s. He shared a two-bedroom flat with his friend and housemate, Jean Redmond, a 24-year-old physiotherapist from Ireland. Morgan, the youngest of 3 children, had a close bond with his family despite his parents' separation during his primary school years. His mother, sister, and brother were all artists and graphic designers, while Morgan pursued a career in ocean engineering. Standing over 6 feet tall, weighing 14 stone, and considered attractive, Morgan defied the typical image of an evil killer. Known for his laid-back, warm, and charismatic disposition, he made those around him feel safe. Morgan loved football, his family and friends, and was particularly close to his mother. He even adopted a lion and an elephant in Cape Town, South Africa, showcasing his love for animals. At the age of 31, Morgan's ocean engineering degree led him to start his own small business, Huxley Marine, specializing in constructing pontoons, seawalls, and jetties. The company recently secured a large contract to build an ocean walkway along the Central Coast, which brought much excitement and growth to Morgan's business. This venture was more than a 9-to-5 job. It was his passion project, his motivation each morning. Adding to the excitement, Morgan's best friend, Chris Moroni, was getting married soon, and an engagement party was on the horizon. On September 7, 2013, Chris's party took place. After a night of barbecuing and a few too many drinks, the group dispersed, with Morgan losing his shoes along the way. Morgan decided he wanted one more drink at his favorite local pub, the Oaks. His friends declined and headed home, but undeterred, Morgan walked to the pub alone. Surveillance cameras captured Morgan entering the Oaks at 1 a.m. on September 8th. He sat near the front door, watching TV, scrolling through his phone, and enjoying a beer, all without his shoes. Half an hour later, the bar closed, and Morgan left at approximately 1:25 a.m., captured by surveillance cameras, walking along Military Road towards Watson Street, where his apartment was located. He arrived home safely, with his housemate Jean already in bed. Ignoring the knocking at the front door, Jean fell back asleep. Jean woke up again around 2:30 a.m., disturbed by strange sounds coming from Morgan's room. Muffled, exhausted, and screeching noises that raised alarm bells. She ventured out of her room and turned on the hallway light, only to be met with a horrific sight. Morgan, covered in blood, was slumped on the floor in his bedroom doorway, barely clinging to life. Panicked, Jean called for an ambulance, but tragically, Morgan was pronounced dead at 3:30 a.m. The discovery of Morgan's lifeless body sent shockwaves through the local community. the area was cordoned off, and investigators began the task of unraveling what had happened. Morgan's body had suffered 28 stab wounds on his back, neck, shoulders, and head. The tip of the weapon used was even found lodged in his skull. Residents were concerned about their safety. Was this a random attack? Would the killer strike again? Fortunately, the crime scene and its vicinity were equipped with numerous surveillance cameras, providing valuable evidence. The footage revealed a young, skinny man running after Morgan as he left the pub. The two seemed unrelated at first, but their paths converged in the same direction, raising suspicions that the unknown man might have seen or known something significant. 2 weeks later, investigators began searching for this unknown man based on surveillance images suggesting he wore a catering uniform. Coincidentally, a barista from the Sydney cooking school recognized the man as one of their chefs. His name was Daniel Jack Calsall, a 22-year-old who worked at the cooking school. Described as shy, socially awkward, and seemingly innocent, Daniel became a person of interest. Daniel was brought in for questioning, but denied any involvement in Morgan's murder. He boasted that they would never catch him if he were the killer, claiming to be smart and well-informed about true crime. However, he confirmed that he had encountered Morgan at a convenience store, but insisted their interaction was before Morgan entered the Oaks. He also had no interest in providing his DNA samples for comparison. Days later, Daniel contacted the lead detective, admitting that he hadn't been entirely truthful during the previous interview. He wanted to speak with an officer again. During their meeting, Daniel confessed that he had indeed gone to Morgan's apartment on the night of his murder. According to Daniel, he and Morgan engaged in consensual sex. That he saw an angry woman entering the apartment afterward. This story didn't add up, as there was no evidence to support Morgan engaging in sexual activity with men. Daniel's bag had a suspicious stain that turned out to be Morgan's blood. Further analysis confirmed that Daniel's fingerprint was on Morgan's bedroom door, and his foreign DNA was found on Morgan's body. Psychologists also uncovered troubling information from their sessions with Daniel, revealing his intrusive thoughts and fascination with knives. The trial began with Daniel pleading not guilty, claiming consensual sex had taken place. However, evidence contradicted his claims, leading to revelations about Daniel's disturbing past and mental health issues. Despite his lies about having Asperger's and autism, the court determined that his behavior didn't align with those diagnoses. Daniel Calsall was found guilty of Morgan Huxley's murder. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison, with a minimum of 30 years before being considered for parole. The judge couldn't determine the exact motive behind the crime, whether it was for thrill, fantasy, or obsession. Psychologists believe that given the chance, Daniel would kill again. Additional details emerged after Morgan's murder. 6 months prior, Morgan had shared a disturbing story with friends about a young man following him home down Watson Street. Although Morgan assumed the man was being friendly or lived in the same apartment block, the man entered his apartment uninvited, leading Morgan to push him outside. Morgan never reported the incident to the police. Following Morgan's death, 2 other men reported being stalked by the same man, later identified as Daniel. Daniel Calsall's appeal to reduce his sentence was rejected in 2017. He remains in prison, where reports suggest he is heavily engaged in sexual activities with other inmates, limiting his involvement in prison programs. This case was peculiar, as there seemed to be no clear reason or motive for the crime. It was senseless and fueled by sick fantasies. Daniel's actions devastated Morgan's family, his foster family, Morgan's friends, and the local community. Morgan was a positive, influential figure, a family-oriented man who followed his passions. His life was cut short by the mindless actions of Daniel Calsall. Thank you for watching this video by The Midnight Investigator. If you found it interesting or insightful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more intriguing cases. Look after one another, and until next time, goodbye.